In this video, I want to give you 10 different types of prompts, just a style of prompts that come in really, really handy. I use a combination of these almost every single day. So I'll go through them in detail and then I'll talk to you about how to follow up with these prompts as well. So the first one is called a completion prompt. That's when you provide a sentence or a phrase and ask the model to complete it. So the cat sat on the blank. So you could do prompts like that, and then it completes what's missing in this. This could come in handy in lots of use cases. Next is the story type of prompt. So you could provide a brief description of the story that you want and ask the model to continue. So you could say, for example, this is the beginning of a story. A young boy discovered a mysterious box in his attic. Complete the rest. Okay, so then you would just pick up from where you left off. That's just a prompt to complete something that really doesn't exist yet. Next, let's look at conversation prompts. But this is basically where you give a question or a statement and ask the model to kind of have a conversation with you. So you could just have a generic conversation like, what's your favorite movie? And try to go back and forth with it like you're talking to a person. Or one of my useful cases for this is when you kind of do role-playing type of prompts. So I could do this for sales. If I'm selling a service, I could just pretend like this is a customer or a potential customer I'm talking to. You could role play and do things like job interviews, for example. So these are conversational, where it just talks back and forth to you. So these are really useful. So start with what's your favorite movie, just to see how it becomes more of a conversational AI chatbot. Next is the argumentative prompt. So you provide a statement or a question that requires this model to argue against that point. This is really useful. So just an example, you could just ask a question, should college be free for everyone, right? Something that is around in the political debate. So it's going to try to argue that point with you. So those type of prompts are useful if you want to debate a topic with someone else, for example. Translation prompts come in handy. It, again, is a model that could translate to a ton of different languages. So you could give it a question, translate whatever, like translate hello, how are you, into a different language. So translation, again, is something that these models understand very well with lots of different languages you could test out. Definition prompt is useful. You could provide a word, right, and ask for a definition. What does the word ambiguous mean, for example? Then you could use imaginary prompts. This is basically you try to get these chatbots to be more creative. So you could ask ChatGPT, for example, describe the scene in this picture, link to a picture and see what it comes up with. This is really interesting way to get it to actually see pictures, understand it, and then give you a little bit of description. And then you could, again, follow up with a follow-up prompt with that. You got your creative writing prompt. These are powerful creative tools. So you could provide a writing prompt and basically ask it for a specific writing style. So I could say, write a story about a character who travels through time in the style of Shakespeare, for example, and it could do that for me in that style. So using it as a creative writing partner with the creative writing prompt is really useful. Paraphrasing prompts is sort of like summarizing, but when you give it a paragraph or you give it lots of text and then you ask it to paraphrase those into one sentence. So these are really, really useful prompts to basically just summarize a large amount of text. Again, these are called paraphrasing prompts. Then you have your question answering prompts. This is when you give it a question and the model gives you an answer, right? This is the most basic type of way you could use these type of models. So something similar to a Google search, you could say, what's the capital of France, for example. And with all these type of prompts and any type of prompt that we're going to look at later, we need to evaluate and follow up, because a lot of times the context may be not correct, or the specific information might be not specific enough, or the format wasn't really what I wanted. A lot of times I changed my format. Maybe I wanted a number list, but when I saw it, it wasn't clear, so then I asked for a table format. So changing the format on a follow-up is really, really useful. And every time it's gonna give you kind of a new output with whatever change you made to it. So following up on a specific conversation is gonna come in useful, and we'll look at that in more detail in upcoming videos.